So welcome everybody. My name is McKenzie Magee, and I have a book called The Guide for Midlife, and I can see that many of us are already through midlife, that harrowing, hilarious time. But the great thing about this book is that it is for people born between 1936 and 1979. So if you can look at your own life retrospectively, or you have children, you might want to look at some of the things that you've been through and ponder those. And also, if you have kids and what they're going through. So this book is good for a good span of ages. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about midlife and understand what it is actually. And when we talk about a midlife crisis, we tend to go, no, thank you. But actually, midlife is a time when something important for the future is decided. And I kind of find it interesting, juxtaposed right now with the world in crisis on the collective level. So in our personal lives, we hit crisis after crisis after crisis between the ages of 35 and 56. There are 6 universal crises that everyone goes through, no matter what way or walk of life you are, no matter where you live on this planet, you will encounter and go through the 6 universal crises. And they are authenticity, clarity, use of our power, stature, balance in beliefs, and contribution. And they come at certain ages. So what I've done is I've written my book as in the form of a travel guide, so that you can assign yourself, based upon your year of birth, what travel group you're in, north, south, east, or west. So those born between 1936 and 1946 belong to the north travel group, and so on. So every chapter you can read exactly what age you were, and or your kid's going to be, or people you know, and you can see what crisis you will have encountered or will be encountering and how to navigate it. So I'm going to read to you from the most classic period of life, which is 40. Okay, so we talk about 40 years old, and interestingly enough, because I have been guiding people through midlife crisis for about 20 years, I find that it really does line up to that harrowing time of change at the age of 40. So I'm going to say that I wished that I had had this book while I was going through midlife. So there's an old Chinese proverb, and it says, "To know the road ahead, ask those coming back." So, coming back, I wrote this book so that those may know the road ahead. So, midlife is a time, as I said, which gives you especially potent opportunities to find your authenticity, your power, your clarity, your stature, your balance in beliefs, and your contribution, which comes at the age of 50. It also presents you with a call to find or reconnect or connect for the very first time at the age of 36, your higher life purpose, if you have not found it yet. So let's go in and begin on one of the chapters, which is authenticity. Every chapter of this book has the same format. And since it's a travel guide, we have a travel itinerary, and it is as follows. The crisis of authenticity. Here we go. Hang on to your seats. And those of us that can recall the time that we were in our 39 to 41 age range. So the crisis of authenticity is when our vision and our action on our vision become one. Authenticity is the genuineness or truth of something. The time in this transit is 18 months. What to pack or acquire along the way? Physical grounding, mental flexibility, emotional calm, spiritual self-trust. What to leave behind? that which is not yours. The weather forecast, electrical storms. And the mantra, expect the unexpected, for sure. It's all about change. So there's a Japanese proverb called, vision without action is a daydream. Action without vision is a nightmare. So the travel itinerary is as follows. Living authentically means living from the inside out. The purpose of the crisis of authenticity is to enable you to create a meaningful life by taking action on the vision for your life. It frees you of responsibilities that are not appropriate for your life purpose or that you may cling to through false dutifulness. Take a moment and consider, is what you are doing bringing you happiness? Do your family and friends support you in what you want to do? Have you been living your life solely to please others? Do you allow yourself to do that which makes you happy? On this part of the midlife journey, respond to the call of freedom from within you. Make changes to liberate yourself from outworn ways of life. By suppressing your need for freedom at this time, you may misspend the energy that is meant for your precious life purpose into misdirected rebellion or unnecessary turmoil. The crisis of authenticity brings about an awakening that can come as suddenly and unpredictably as lightning, hence the electrical storms. In fact, at this time, you are much like a lightning rod receiving the high voltage of your truth. It is essential to direct this current constructively, otherwise it will scatter and be wasted. If you were not able to grasp the true purpose of your life at the second call of the soul, which occurs at age 36, this may be a confusing time. It's important to understand that radical redirection may be needed to reorient you toward the life you are meant to be living. Resistance to making necessary changes invites the possibility of chaos and turbulence. Recognize and acknowledge the wisdom behind any changes that are occurring now. If your life is in alignment with your higher life purpose, this will be a very exciting time. The crisis of authenticity is a critical juncture in your life journey. You may have fallen into deep ruts, and powerful universal forces now are at work to free you from those ruts. It reminds me of a quote from Ellen Glasgow, and she writes, "The only difference between a rut and a grave are their dimensions." So there are pitfalls that you should be aware of. The first pitfall is allowing inflexibility and resistance to change to keep you stuck in the past. Will you choose to continue to live in the past? Will you deny that a new life is being offered to you, retreat into your old patterns, and call your life good enough? This crisis bestows a precious resurgence of life energy. Opting for the rut, you might experience a downward spiral into meaninglessness and inertia from which it may be very difficult to recover. The second pitfall is acting too hastily. Move forward only when you are in balance. The third pitfall is impulsively discarding your important existing support systems. Balance your need for freedom with your responsibilities to these important parts of your life. Otherwise, they may not be there when this crisis has passed. The crisis of authenticity can be characterized by sudden change, anxiety, restlessness, and confusion. Experimentation, rebellion, inner and outer questioning are also common to this crisis. Separation from jobs, from families, relationships, or prior interests may mark this time to indicate that redirection is needed. If you're experiencing short-term depression, make sure that you are connected to your higher life purpose and the passion that it provides. Brilliant discoveries and accomplishments are made during the crisis of authenticity. Act on yours and share them with the world. Now for the essential travel tips. Express your vision. Speak with your true voice, the one that can only be heard when you've consciously become aware of the voices from your past that might still be directing your life. Find silence through solitude, meditation, or other means by which you can get to know the sound of your true voice. Lighten your load by releasing childhood conditioning and conformity to the truths of others. Find the freedom to explore, experiment with, and convey your vision, but balance that with your existing responsibilities. Understand the difference between false dutifulness and correct responsibility. Learn how to differentiate between appropriate and inappropriate expectations and demands. Respectively, they will either energize you or deplete you. Accept changes now occurring in your life. They exist for the purpose of directing you to the true you. Choose constructive ways to stay grounded. Time spent in nature, exercise, whole foods can stabilize and direct the high voltage life force energy that is now flowing through you for the purpose of this crisis, finding and expressing your authenticity. The ultimate travel tip: a change in direction does not mean a U-turn. So the sights and sounds part of every chapter. This is a list of some of the things that you may find along the way through the crisis of authenticity. You can recognize them as personal traits or as symbolic messages in your dreams, and you're free to choose which of these can be real and lasting assistant for the rest of your journey. And I mean the rest of your life journey for sure, not just your midlife journey. So, some of the sights and sounds: abruptness, accidents, advancement, alienation, altruism, anarchy. We see that's happening in the world today too. Assertiveness, anxiety, audacity, change, clairvoyance, contradiction, curiosity, detachment, discovery, genius, freedom, experimentation, ideas, independence, infidelity, rebellion, revision, revolution, self-sufficiency, shock, surprise, unpredictability. Judy Garland says it's best: it's always better to be a first-rate version of yourself than a second-rate version of somebody else. Thank you very much.